I told Karen, our Sedona organizer, I said, is she really that pretty? And Karen says she's even more pretty because of her inner glow, and I think we can see 93. She's an author. She's written, I think, one book. She's writing, or at least one, writing one now. She's a director of the Sedona Meditation Training Company. She does retreats and classes. She is leading these meditations for us out of the goodness of her heart. She's very generous with her time and her spirit. She's worked with the Deepak Chopra. She was one of the founders of his center in California, Southern California. She's spent time studying meditation in India in a Zen Buddhist training center. And I have to say, when I first talked to her, she sent me several of her meditation CDs. Now, I've been teaching meditation and meditating for 30 years. I popped it into the CD player, and I was entranced. So I have to say, it was new, it was crystal, it was clear, it was beautiful. So she has a beautiful, beautiful, you've got several, right? Several CDs, and even if you think you know how to meditate, I listen to it and enjoy it, and then I made a couple copies for my sisters. And they loved it. Now, I just want to ask, how many of you are the weirdest one in your family? Oh. All right. All right. That's why we come together, because we find we're not the only crazy ones. So, cell phones off. We will honor our beautiful goddess from Sedona, Sarah. Thank you. So sweet. I want to give you a hug. I love it when people copy my CDs. Yeah. Can you hear me? Oh, not yet. Okay. Hi, everyone. Happy spring. I love it when people copy my CDs. The more people that meditate, the better. The more people who meditate, the better, in my personal perspective. So let's look around just for a moment. Let's just look around at who's here. You know, the gathering, they say, gather yourselves. The river is moving very fast. And look at all these shiny faces. I was lucky enough to sit here, and is it funny? Is it my mic funny? Okay. Okay. I was looking around at all the shiny faces. I was just so excited to be here. For some reason, this particular event really got me excited. And I put on events all the time. So I just want to honor the woman that built this place. Her name was Shirley Karras. She worked with me, or worked with Deepak Chopra. She was a trained meditation teacher. And she built this beautiful place to create a sacred space for people to gather themselves, whatever that looks like for you. How do you gather yourself? And so I'm going to ask you, how are you? Fine? Okay. So before you answer that question, I have to sit like this. I'm sorry. Before you answer that question, though, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to ask yourself silently, how am I? How am I really? How am I feeling? How's my body feeling? And I want you to remember why you sent an email or picked up a phone or made these travel arrangements to be here today. What was that intention? What was that desire? I want you to hold that in your heart, and when you feel ready, open your eyes. I want to tell you a little story about Sedona. When I moved here 10 years ago. I moved here because I was getting married. I know it sounds crazy to be a meditation teacher in a town full of meditators and, new age people, but I moved here, and
The first thing that struck me, because I moved here from Los Angeles and Southern California, which is totally built up, is that Sedona is an island in the middle of the wilderness, in the middle of the red rocks and the national forests and the state trust lands. And it's a tiny town, really. You've probably already noticed. There's about 8,000 people in Sedona, 8,000 people down in the village. And when I moved here, there was an extreme, it was the height of the real estate market, and there was an extreme desire to build up some of these red rocks, to put houses, on the base of these red rocks. And there was a huge development pressure. I'm on the wilderness fence myself, which means right around me there's nothing. And there was this pressure over and over to build. And I decided to do something about it. So we collected signatures from thousands and thousands of visitors like you, people that lived here, and we called and wrote articles in the newspapers and made phone calls. And we went to Washington, D.C. with our big suitcase full of these signed petitions to lobby our representatives there to pass a legislation that would protect this land forever. You know how sacred it is to you, and you're just visiting, and to the Native Americans who never even lived here but came here to do ceremony. So I felt compelled to do this, and I've never really been in the political world. I was a meditation teacher. I was really into mind-body health and Ayurveda and taking care of your spirit and your physiology and aligning with nature. But see, it's a huge alignment when this starts to happen, and it was in my own backyard. And I know you probably have a story like this in your own backyard. And so I went there, and I found that they were not interested in what people wanted. They were not interested in nature. The currency, and we're talking about currents and currency. The currency was dollars, votes, people with commercial interests. And what that does when we put our attention there is it leaves out nature. It leaves out the four-legged ones. It leaves out the fish. It leaves out the water. It leaves out the clean air. When our currency leaves out everything. And I would be met with this closed-minded people, and I came across this. I got extremely frustrated, and I was reading a Lao Tzu poem. Lao Tzu, who wrote the Tao Te Ching, and he said, "If there is to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there's to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there's to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there's to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there's to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart." So I went back from Washington, frustrated, after about a year of effort, which doesn't seem very long in the scheme of millennia, but I decided, you know what, I've got to go forth and teach meditation to as many people as I can, because it changed my heart. I could find myself back in a sense of peace, so I could be the change I want to see in the world. I wanted to be that peace. And yes, I remember yesterday someone saying that she's a rage driver. I'm not a rage driver, but I do get upset sometimes, and I have to remember, how am I, if I'm upset at this, no wonder we're in the state we're in this world. So I know each one of us is here as a light worker, and we all have our work to do in the world. But I have to remember that I have to take care of it over here first. And that's why I meditate every day. And I meditate so that I can access my own soul, so I can express my own soul. And the book that's coming out is called Soul Centered, and how to live in a way that is living from there. So if I ask you, who are you, instead of telling me where you live or what you do or who your relations are or what your past was or what your plans are. If I ask you, who are you, and you answer from that place of your own soul, it's going to be a different answer. So meditation for me is creating this union between my soul and my life and the world around me, and I can live from there. So I know many of you are meditators. I know many of you have a practice on a daily basis, but I'd like you to approach this with a beginner's mind, just like Jeanette did when she listened to my CD, 30-year meditation teacher, listening to a CD with a beginner's mind, and that's how I like to approach meditation. So today, I'm going to ask you to be a beginner and not try too hard. I try really hard to be a good meditator, and that just thwarts my connection with my own soul. So I want you to just have an intention, just like you had the intention to be here. Have an intention to be still in your meditation, and I'll guide you through this. You feel ready? We'll have a few sounds from Peter. Can we have a few sounds? Let's close our eyes. So with your eyes closed, you might begin to notice that you're more aware of the sounds in the room. Sound of my voice. The sounds arising out of silence. The sound of your own breath. So without resisting, just allow yourself to welcome whatever comes. You also might notice that you become more aware of how your body's feeling. So take a moment now and let yourself release any stress and tension from your face, letting your shoulders move down and away from your ears, letting the back of your neck lengthen just a little, relaxing your belly, relaxing your legs, letting your whole body be soft and open. Begin now to bring your attention to your breath. And as your body is always in the present moment, so is your breath. This moment, as every other moment, you can access your inspiration, you can access your soul, you can access your creativity, you can access the relation with the divine or the realization of the divine. And it happens when you bring your attention right here, right now. We can do that through our breath. With your body relaxed and your attention on your breath, your mind might travel, and this is normal. But what we'll do is we'll train our awareness to come back to the present moment, to the breath. The key ingredient here is kindness. Kindness to yourself when your mind drifts off. Kindness to yourself when you've lost track of where you are and what you're doing. So in meditation, we want to be kind to ourselves. Feeling the breath as it moves in and out of the body. Feeling the cool air on the inhale and the warmer air on the exhale. Feeling that gentle rise and fall of the chest. And bringing your attention to the center of the chest, to your heart center. Imagining now that the breath is moving in and out of the heart. The heart is breathing. training your awareness to move into that heart center. And with your awareness there, I want you to silently ask yourself a few questions. There's no need to come up with the right answers. This is simply about asking and listening. So the first question is, who am I? Ask yourself, who am I? And simply listen. You can let that question go. Some of you might not have heard anything, and this is perfectly normal. But now, ask yourself the question, with your attention still on the heart center. What is my heart's desire? What is my heart's desire? Just simply ask and let your heart answer with your awareness in the heart center. You can let that question go and any answers you might have heard. And the final question in this meditation you can ask yourself is, how can I best love myself? How can I best love myself? It's okay to ask that question. Ask and listen. And let go of that question, any answers you might have heard. And let your awareness now move back to the breath. There are many things people can do in meditation, but in this one, we're simply training our awareness to be here now, paying attention to the breath, not trying to change or control or manipulate, simply allowing. Ideally, you'll be breathing through your nose and feeling that inhale, exhale, receiving, giving. Whenever your attention drifts away from the breath, sweetly return it back to the breath. Now you can shift your attention and let your awareness rest on that space, that pause between the inhale and the exhale, and that pause between the exhale and the inhale. as you continue to naturally breathe. If your attention drifts away to a noise in the environment, or in your own body, or to a thought, or a plan, or a memory, if you notice you're waiting for something special to happen, just simply return your attention back to the breath. Don't beat yourself up. I'm going to introduce a mantra now. You can say this silently to yourself, or whatever you like to do. On your inhale, silently think the sound Ma, M-A, Ma, as in Mother Earth, Mother Divine, the nurturing, beautiful qualities of this world and this universe. On the exhale, thinking the sound Om, Om, the sound of the expansion, the limitlessness. Inhaling Ma, exhaling Om. Letting your attention rest on the sound of that thought. Ma, Om. The breath might get faster or slower, the mantra louder or quieter, or it may simply stop. Don't worry about paying attention to my voice if you're having a wonderful experience, but I will gently remind you to come back. We'll meditate for a few more minutes like this. Ma on the exhale, inhale, Om on the exhale. Keep your body relaxed. Don't try too hard. Inhale Ma, exhale Om. Being very kind to yourself. Keep coming back. You can let the mantra go, continuing to pay attention to the breath, experiencing your own stillness, your own presence, the perfection of this moment. Bringing your attention to your heart center once again. Allowing yourself to feel the gratitude for this moment, for the elements, for this earth, for all beings in all worlds, for the support of your own body, for your own wisdom. Whatever you hear, allow yourself to feel gratitude. Gratitude for the five senses. Gratitude for the support of nature. Gratitude for the witnessing of spring. Gratitude to be called into what we're doing here and who we're being and becoming. Gratitude for your own awareness. Giving yourself a few deeper breaths through your nose. I'd like to send out a prayer to all beings in all worlds for their peace and alleviation of their suffering. And some of you may know this, it's in Sanskrit. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Take your time. There's no rush. You can keep your eyes closed for the rest of the day if you like. But give yourself some deeper breaths. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Stretch a little. Keep your eyes closed until the very last moment. That was delicious. Thank you. Good way to start the spring. I just want to remind you that as light workers, healers, however you define yourself, teachers, channels, we have a real responsibility to take care of ourselves. And I know we're usually the last on the list, at least I am, last on my list. And when I ask people, what do you want? They often tell me what they want for the world or for their husbands or wives or their kids or their grandchildren, instead of what do you want? And a lot of us are trained out of letting ourselves ask that question. Who am I? What do I really want? It's not selfish. Desires are in your own heart because you are supposed to experience their manifestation. Desires are not accidental. You have them so that you can realize them. And each one of us will probably come up with a different desire, or it's different desires between us. I mean, you might come up with a different one than your dad, right? Yeah, we all have different desires because they are there so we can manifest them. They say, in the Rig Veda, they say, you are your deepest desire. You actually are your deepest desire. As your desire is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. And as your deed is, so is your destiny. So we're all motivated by desires so that we move in this stream to fulfill them. So what meditation has helped me to do is to awaken to my desires and to be a really good listener. And that's what we all are. You heard to come here, right? You've heard the call to be here. You've heard the calling in your own life. And some people listen with their ears, with their mind's eye. Some people listen with their bodies. So however you listen, meditation helps you to settle down the nervous system, get rid of the stress, the noise, turn the attention inward so that you can find that silence, so the whispers of your heart and the whispers of your intuition and the whispers of the divine can be heard. So, does anyone have anything they want to share? We have 3 minutes. Has there anyone here who's never meditated like that before? Yeah? How did it go for you? Yeah? Good. Anyone else?
Over here.
Oh, thank you. Hey, how did it go for you? Okay. Yeah? Have you ever meditated at all before?
Not really.
Cool. So did you have a lot of thoughts?
Not really.
Oh, great. That was a pretty long time for you to meditate, because normally with kids, we tell kids to meditate as long as, how many minutes as their age. So how old are you? 11. So you would meditate at home for 11 minutes. Okay, so a meditation is ideal to do in the morning when you first wake up, on an empty stomach, without trying to do anything. There's a lot of doing that we do and trying to work in these other worlds and experience these other healing capabilities, and those are good too. Those meditations are good too. But this meditation is about putting on your own oxygen mask so that you can save the rest of the plane if the plane is in trouble. You know how they tell you that on a plane? Meditation is taking care of yourself first, and it's not a bad thing to do. So how do you feel right now? Calm. That's a good way to walk through the world. And for once. Calm for once. Cool. It really does work, and it's not that fancy. I made a meditation CD because my students asked me to do it, but you don't need any accoutrements. You need nothing to do this. You can do it anywhere, anytime. So I really encourage you, for the world's sake, to meditate and find your own peace. So thank you all so much. Thank you.